So we'll start with the CEO on this one. I want to say coach, I want to say player, I want to say Mr. Scott, to be honest. Byron, can you tell us a little bit about the league and what you guys are going to be doing?
Well, the league's a summer league called Primetime Basketball League. And what we're trying to do and what we will be doing is having players who have played in the NBA play in our league. It's a 4-team league right now. These are basically preseason games. The league will launch next year. But we want to get these players who have been who has NBA experience. We don't want them to have to be forced to go overseas all the time. So we want them to still be in the States, have a chance to continue their careers, continue their branding. And also the one thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that we help these guys when basketball is over. Because a lot of the guys, they don't think about it. But now at this particular stage, they get a chance to start thinking about what they want to do like when basketball is over. So that transition is very important. So PBL is the league that's really trying to form or come together and form these young players to understand that when basketball is done, life isn't over. You still got to continue to live.
It's a great lesson. And the season actually starts next summer, but we're
Correct.
getting a little taste here in Chicago.
Correct.
And you know what you're doing. You brought a Chicago guy whose name rings a lot of bells out here from the Flying Illini. This guy used to get buckets. Steve Bardo, a friend and family here at WCIU, is going to be jealous that you're in here, that we're chopping it up with you. But you're a coach now for this thing. Can you tell us a little bit about the Chicago team?
Well, like Byron said, former NBA players with a lot of NBA experience, some great talent. When I got the call from Byron to ask me to coach the Chicago team, how could you turn that down? You know, get a chance to come back home and be in front of the people who cheered you on. So it's a great opportunity.
Absolutely. So I got to ask you guys, you're here in Chicago. A lot of people, for various reasons during your 10 years in LA, may not be a fan of Byron Scott for what he did to Michael early on in his career. 3 championships right here. And then game 1 of Eastern Conference Finals, and what was that, 95?
95.
When you ripped Mike and took it the other way to seal that win. People don't like that too much here either.
Well, I'm still here today, so.
They shouldn't be too mad. They got 6 championships. MJ did pretty good.
They did do all right. So I got to ask you, it's a timely question. LBJ, LeBron James, or Michael, who's the greatest?
Well, like we talked about this before we came on the air, with all due respect to LBJ, I love him.
Here comes the disrespect.
I love everything that he does for the game. He's brought to the game, on and off the court. But there's nothing like MJ 23.
You got that's respect right there. You got an MJ story? One of you guys has to have an MJ story.
We probably both got a ton of MJ stories, but just to go back a little bit on what Nick just talked about, and I'm a big LeBron James fan as well, and even bigger now that he's in Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
Right?
I'm even bigger
he's
fan.
He's furthering that legacy out there.
But
with
I'm going back against a guy that I played against, Nick played against, who was probably one of the greatest competitors that I've ever played against.
No question.
And so when you look at some of the things that he was able to accomplish, getting to the final 6 times, winning 6 times, that doesn't happen very often. So MJ. When you put those two guys together, I say MJ is still a notch above, and LeBron James is still a great basketball player. But my story, and as I told you before, Jordan, is when we were playing Chicago and they were coming down the Forum tunnel, and MJ got off the bus. He said, "B. Scott, what's going on? I heard you ain't playing tonight."
You said you were hurt, ankle,
and I said,
right?
"Yeah, I hurt my ankle." He said, "Well, who's going to guard me?" I said, "Anthony Peeler." He said,
rookie.
"The rookie?" Oh, 50. And he had 54.
Yeah, he told you he was going to get 50.
He said 50, and he had 54.
He could always taste that blood in the water. He could smell it. He'd go after
He was amazing.
I want to ask you about 2 other Laker greats, because during those Showtime Lakers, for those who maybe were too young to remember, you guys were the Beatles, man. Like you guys were legitimate
great team,
rock stars. So I want to ask you about Magic, and then after that, I want to hear about Shaq down there in Orlando as a new franchise. What you guys achieved was remarkable, such early success. But let's start with Magic. What's he like? He's a living legend.
You know what? Greatest player that I've ever played with, no, let me take that back. He's one, and there's one in 1A, because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to me, and he doesn't get enough credit.
True.
And I think a lot of that's because of the time that he played, and a lot of people just tend to forget about what he was able to accomplish. I think Kareem is probably the greatest player that ever played in the game.
Wow.
And when you look at Magic Johnson, he was a guy that he transcended the game from a point guard position. You never saw a 6'9" point guard in your life.
Opened a lot of doors.
And not only 6'9", but 6'9" that could really pass the ball, could dribble the ball. I mean, was a great conductor out there on the floor. and he would get the shirt off your back. He was the most giving player I've ever played with, and he was a tremendous leader. And it was so much fun playing in that era with those guys. And I see Kareem every now and then. I see Magic almost 2 or 3 times a week because we work out at the same gym, so we're always talking, play golf with James Worthy. We still have a close-knit group of guys that we still hang out every now and then to this day.
That's cool. How about Shaq in 30 seconds?
Oh, well, just a big dominant force. Unfortunately, he stole my teammate. But playing with Shaq, just a phenomenal player. Talented, had a lot of fun games, fun times with him. Always playing tricks on everybody. Played with a smile. That was him.
Have fun.
Big prankster.
And he's still the same way today after all this time has passed. He hasn't changed. I have to give the big fella kudos. I love playing with him.
Yeah, I tell you, this is one of the coolest moments of my time being here at the gym. Nick Anderson of the Flying Illini and of Orlando Magic fame. Forget about him stealing the ball in Game 1. He still represented very well. And then 3-time NBA champion and a legend for sure, too, Byron Scott right here. So you guys are going to put this league together, this Primetime Basketball League. It's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to following this thing along.
Hey, it's time to have some fun.
Thank you guys for coming out. So we have to support, as does the rest of Chicago. Go ahead and support the Primetime Basketball League and check out the Chicago Wildcats as they go up against the New York Gothic Ballers, putting on a little bit of a taste of what to expect from this awesome league. That's tomorrow at the UIC Pavilion. 2 games. First one starts at 4 p.m. Second game starts at 6 p.m. Make sure you give it some love. Represent for these 2 legends.